Now among those who went up to worship at the festival were some Greeks. They came to Philip, who was from Bethsaida in Galilee, and said to him, "Sir, we wish to see Jesus." Philip went and told Andrew, and then Andrew and Philip went and told Jesus. Jesus answered them, "The hour has come for the Son of Man to be glorified. Very truly I tell you, unless a grain of wheat falls into the earth and dies, it remains just a single grain. But if it dies, it bears much fruit." The word of God for the people of God. Thanks be to God.
I don't know what Dad thinks is going on around here. Maybe you can tell me if it's a Southern tradition or if it's just a Texas tradition. But about 4 or 5 years ago, my father began giving Kevin and me boutonniere corsages to wear on Mother's Day. And they're white roses. And, I thought that was very nice. And then he explained, mind you, he had never done this. In my 50-odd years of knowing him, he'd never done this before. But he explained, he said, well, when you wear a white flower on Mother's Day, it denotes that your mother is no longer alive. You wear a red flower, that denotes that your mother is still alive. What entered his head to start doing that tradition, I have no idea. Well, so we swung by my dad yesterday to pick up our flowers. And we were driving on the way home, and Kevin said, yeah, well, he didn't tell you part of it. And so, well, what part did he not tell me? He said, well, red means that your mother's still alive, white means she's not still alive. He said, but when I was serving at Boston Avenue United Methodist Church in Tulsa, Oklahoma, he said, one day the youth pastor got up and he was supposed to do the prayer, and he looked down and his wife was on the front row and she was wearing a pink flower. And he said, pink means pregnant. Well, I'd never heard that one. I hadn't heard the others. I would like you to please ask Deb why she sent so many pink flowers to First Methodist Church. Unless there's something y'all aren't telling me. As far as I know, Megan Baxter is the only pregnant one we've got at the moment. So those flowers that you were just given, that color means nothing. That is just a flower to help us celebrate Mother's Day today. Flowers are really cool, aren't they, for Mother's Day? There are a lot of flowers for Mother's Day. This is the second busiest day for florists, second only to Valentine's Day in terms of being busy giving out flowers. Mother's Day is a flower kind of holiday. And flowers are a lot of fun. We use flowers, of course, at Easter as well. Some of you came in today and you're going, why are we still singing He Lives? And if you've looked ahead in your bulletin, and we're going to sing Up from the Grave He Arose. That's an Easter song. Well, of course, in the church, Easter is a season, not just one Sunday. Easter is a season that is a week of weeks, 7 times 7. And so today is the 7th Sunday of Easter. Now, this congregation used to decorate with Easter lilies. And I like Easter lilies as much as the next person. Unfortunately, I'm allergic to them. And you all have been very kind to switch flowers. And so now we use the kalanchoe flowers. And those are really pretty too. They come in all different colors. And the place looks great at Easter time. It's a lot of fun. Now, about, I don't know, either, I think it must have been 2 or 3 weeks ago, Rick looked at the last 4 pots of the kalanchoe flowers, and they were pretty sad looking. Nobody had been loving on them. Nobody had been taking care of them. They dropped all their color, and the leaves were all beginning to crinkle and turn in. I don't know if you've ever had an Easter lily, but after a couple of weeks, unless you're a really good horticulturist, the same thing happens with them. They shed all those big old white petals, and then they shed that yellow pollen all over creation. And if you don't do something, those leaves may stay green, but it just sits there. Turns out that Gifford and Kathy Long planted a couple of Easter lilies in the backyard of Parsons. And last year they bloomed, and it was great. Well, I haven't seen a sign of them this year. Now, if you still have your kalanchoe plant and you need advice, Mary Ann Hartzell she has a kalanchoe plant that's about that big and about yay tall. So obviously she knows what she's doing and she can advise you if you still have your Easter kalanchoe plant and would like to keep it alive. But you know, these kinds of flowers, Easter lilies and the flowers that come for Mother's Day, and even the carnations, you know, when you get home, you know to chop off the bottom piece before you put it in water. And that way it will absorb water. But all those have got to have some attention. You've got to take care of them. And my suggestion is that, yeah, flowers are a lot of fun for Mother's Day, and flowers are a lot of fun for Easter. But carnations and kalanchoe plants and Easter lilies, they're really not the best in terms of representing Easter. I mean, they only hang on for a couple of weeks unless you're really attentive to them. And the Easter season lasts 7 weeks. So if we're going to look for a plant, and Jesus used plants, you know, you heard the reading there, unless a grain of wheat falls into the earth and dies, it remains just one seed. But if it dies, then it gives off a lot of fruit. And he was talking about wheat, but he was talking about it in terms of his own glorification. He started out the sentence, "The time has now come for the Son of Man to be glorified." And that glory was in his death and resurrection. And so he uses the example of something that looks dead, and in fact has a lot of life in it. And that's what you and I in the church call resurrection. And I just don't think the kalanchoe plants and Easter lilies and carnations have a lot of resurrection in them. So if we're going to find a flower or a plant that we can use in order to represent Easter, I'm suggesting that it not be what you're holding in your hands, ladies. How about if we represent resurrection with a really good dandelion? This thing stinks. And it has thorns. And when I picked it this morning, do you know where I picked it? I picked it in the back of the grocery store at the dumpster in the cement. Nobody planted it. Nobody's been taking care of it. Nobody's watered it. It just got whatever water came from rain. And when I went to pull it up, I don't know if you can see, there are no roots here. It did not come up easily. Not only does it stink, but it also has thorns. Hence the gloves. But the fact that those roots are still there, do you know what's going to happen the next time it rains? That's right, this sucker's going to bloom again, isn't it? If we really want a plant or a flower that is going to represent resurrection, friends, I'm sorry, the carnation's not going to cut it. A dandelion? You know, I get all these little yellow flowers in my yard. And if I don't take care of those little yellow flowers, in a little while, they become something else, and they turn white, and then they spread my neighbor's yard. That's like resurrection. That's like the resurrection power of Jesus Christ. You and I sometimes think we are dead. We think we've been pulled up by the roots. But God's resurrection power doesn't stop. God's resurrection power needs no invitation. God's resurrection power doesn't need us to water it and tend it and take care of it. God's resurrection power is offered to us every time the Spirit of God moves upon us. Nobody has to water the thing. Nobody has to take care of it. And it spreads all on its own volition. No matter how much we may spray it, no matter how much we may try to cage it, this thing is going to bloom and it smells terrible. I'm going to give myself another. But that's the resurrection and power of Jesus Christ. It's not found in pretty flowers. I know you and I tried our best to look good to come to church today. I get that. We prefer to look like calonches or Easter lilies or carnations. But the reality of the church is that the resurrection power of Jesus Christ is more like a dandelion. We put our roots down and we bloom wherever. And we spread that word throughout the whole world. Let's face it, if there is a nuclear holocaust at some point, there are two things going to survive: the cockroach and the dandelion. And the resurrection power of Jesus Christ. When the health report comes and it's bad, you and I feel like we're dead. But the resurrection power of Jesus Christ is like a dandelion. And it will sprout, and it will bloom, and it will spread. And when the news comes of the death in our family and our friends, you and I feel like we've died too. And the resurrection power of Jesus Christ comes along, and it's like a dandelion that only needs a hint of rain, and it'll spread all over the place. You and I may be having trouble in our relationships. We may be having trouble with our jobs. We may be having trouble with money. And sometimes that makes us feel like we're dead. Like a droopy Easter lily 3 weeks after Easter. Easter lilies can't hang on, but that's not the best representation of the power of God. The dandelion is. Those stupid yellow flowers in my yard, they bloom all year long. It doesn't matter if there's been a week-long freeze. Here they come the first time the sun comes back up. That's what that hymn we just sang was about. When our hearts are wintry, grieving or in pain, love comes again like wheat that springs great. Oh, wheat is nothing. Love comes again like a good dandelion that's powerful, that refuses to be torn up, that puts down roots, and at the first hint of rain or the Spirit of God blooms again. That's who God is among us. That's why it's still Easter. Even if all the Easter flowers have already died, the dandelions are still there to witness. And you and I, in reality, we're not the beautiful flowers that we make ourselves up to be. We're dandelions. Because we're the ones who show the resurrection power of Jesus Christ. And that's what we offer to the world. And don't get any funny ideas. I am not recommending that we bring in dandelions for Easter next year. Nope. But the dandelion is there to remind us that the power of God puts down deep roots and springs whatever the weather is, and will put out and multiply no matter where we are. I think all of you look like me today. You look like a bunch of roses and carnations and calonches and Easter lilies. The reality is the church is a dandelion, a plant that won't quit. And we are the ones who witness to the resurrection power of Jesus Christ every Sunday. Not just on Easter Sunday, not just on the 7th Sunday of Easter, but every Sunday and every day. Love is come again, like wheat that springeth green. Mother's Day. And Happy Easter. In the name of the Father, and of the Son,